this is a part of myself that I don't like this about myself right now.
What part?
If I said I was going to do something, nothing would get in the way of me not getting that thing done. And I just would have stayed up all night. It's kind of like if you lie to yourself, you can never unlie to yourself type thing. Like, it's kind of like when I say something out loud, like I trust myself. And if I'm not doing something, like I break that trust with myself, if that makes sense.
Adam's values are changing.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a small thing.
No.
Getting familiar with or comfortable with that it's okay not to stay up all night, right?
Yeah.
That was a really big value for Adam in the past. And he's learning to reorientate himself without feeling that this is not good enough, right? That it still has value. Being more human, so to say, has a different value, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
like listening to the canker sores on the lips.
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
like you can't, when you're 30 something years old, you can't keep staying up like a 22-year-old who's willing to work, throughout the night, because, we have new values now, and learning how to navigate that just isn't easy. I'm relearning how to sing right now. For an analogy, I cannot sing my old songs. I can't do it. They're all too high for me. And I lose my voice when I try to start singing them that way. And the only way for me to sing them is to break into my old pattern, sing them for 20 minutes, and then I can't talk for the next day. I have to start over. I'm laying down in the morning with this stack of books and trying to relearn how to sing from the beginning. And I'm not confident performing at shows right now. And I look at old videos of myself and I'm like, wow, like I did sound pretty good doing it that way. But I know it's just not sustainable for me. It's tough to know you were capable of something, and it seems like you can go and do that, even if it's just for a little bit. Like, it's just not the all-nighter Adam deadline meeting guy is not something we want even that energy at all in GBL. It's not even supposed to be here. Like, so much better for you to have to experience what it's like to miss deadlines, how it makes you feel, and how to learn a new way to work, than to be capable of doing what you used to do, which does not reflect the values of GBL.
I'll share the crazy idea that came about when you said that you can't sing high like you used to. Well, what would happen though if Wyatt's concerts, Wyatt shows, actually it wasn't him singing those songs. It actually was people singing together. Wyatt was there as like an orchestrator, but it actually was people singing together. I feel like that's when I hear the word fun with Onora, like it's a weird word for me. There's the what does Adam think when the word fun first came out? It's that how are becoming friends who are doing this stuff together. F is for friends who do stuff together. Everything I say impacts you and me. Everything's impacting us, and we can apply this anywhere and anytime at all to anything we're going to do together. Then there's the fun of like just us having a good time. And then there's the friction that I have, which is like, again, this is Adam's limiting belief, is I'm just going to call it silly. If I'm like to look at our stuff and are we just like silly, I'm like, who am I to judge? But is that the brand that we're putting out? And so I know that that's like, right, my corporate training and my upbringing of like, how silly do we go?
What does it take for people to get to flow, so to say, right? And so where's the space for the shirtless dancing guy? For Adam to find his comfort zone and his space. And if this is about getting, let's say, Adam not doing everything here, then how could you create a space where the shirtless dancing guy is doing his stuff?
Part of the why of Onora is that coming here helps you find your light, helps you find your purpose. It's a process in which you kind of get the space held for you to be seen and heard. You've got new tools in order to get some flow out of something that you're yearning for, but it's stuck and stagnant. And a big part of that is a shared desire to do what you love, to have more of those actions that you love in your life. And sometimes that is work, Like there's work to be done, but you can really enjoy it. Just like the story that you told right now. Like you had to read a book and write a report. And sometimes that can be an incredible experience. And sometimes you have to take out the trash. But Honora is, if I may, you know, it doesn't have to cover every perspective perfectly. I think it is a place for people to come and find their new purpose, to take that thing that they've been yearning for. A lot of people, it's get me out of my job and help me to regrow agriculture and food because that seems like a better purpose for the planet. Sometimes it's how can I be in better communication with my family? And people love reconnecting with their family with these tools. But they need more encouragement to do and find the thing they love with a community that is also doing the same thing at that time. They've been taking out the trash for the last 30 years, most of them. This is their space and time in order to be more grateful, in order to find and grow to their light. And, you know, when you kind of graduate from Honora and GBL, obviously there's a whole thing to open up to after that. And that is like, how do I recalibrate that not everything is supposed to be like this childlike wonder at all times, or I'm throwing it away? Like how to be more compassionate towards the reality of life. And again, find gratitude in sticking to things with devotion and in, you know, not sugarcoating, silver lining on everything when situations aren't, it's not really helpful to do that anymore. But Honora is the place in which, at least for now, it can help people get the first foot in the door to, I'd rather be a little bit more grateful for my life the way it is. And I'd like some encouragement through community for other people who are embracing more of their light, you know? And there's a growth phase in which you yourself, myself, Henrik, we all got a little overly, you know, positive at sometimes. And that's good. But like this, it was never going to swing without something like this. And we can help people swing and land more softly in the end. You know, that, and that's that integration phase. So I think what's mature in Honora and that why is like, let's get people unstuck. Let's get the people who are stuck unstuck by giving them community, giving them a place to be seen and heard, giving them that shared perspective, you know, and the tools in order to move from that place. And as Honora develops the things that are less mature and less clear for all of us, there's the values that it takes in order to ground that thing that felt so good in the shifting into reality again. And, you know, maybe there's a little bit of a swing back. Honora is here to help people get unstuck in community. It's here particularly for people who are dealing with the big stuckness of our day and age, which is kind of environmentalism and the like shifting narratives of society. Like, how do I even relate to something in which we've done such a bad job and continue to do a bad job on it? How can we change? You've got a tool set for high school kids going through that. You've got a tool set for people between the age of 25 and 60 who are on the internet. You've got a tool set, you know, I'm sure you have people older than 60 in here for sure. You've got a tool set now for people who feel that way in the corporate world. Being Chia is, it's like, it's good at that portion of it. It really is. And it's a mature offering. And it was the thing that kind of bound us together in that phase. And now we are kind of like, you know, super concerned that we don't know how to catch people next. But still, you still have to have that starting point, that the catalyst, you know, the thing that gets people flowing. And never forget the why for that, you know, is because you got stuck and you found community that helped you get unstuck. And there were tools, there was psyche, there was space being held, there were groups, you know, there was a new way of talking with one another. There was a new way of thinking about your things. There was an openness to go and approach and embrace the people who you disagree with and the people who you cherish. And either way, just make connection with them. And that offering is rather mature and it's really important. And I don't think you should ever forget that, even if there's a new place in which you are now personally going through the integration phase. So we're trying to land this reality. And now it's time to realize, like, yeah, there was, we threw some of the baby out with the bathwater, but we had to get unstuck. And it's really important to do that and see it as nothing is a sustainable thing forever. Nothing. Whatever mindset you're going to pick, you got to make sure it's going to adapt at some point to meet where you're at. And you and Henrik have developed a really great container for all those people who are going to come after and who still need that help to make that process more enjoyable. And you're already starting to think about how they land. How do we get them to land? Because you're shooting people off into the clouds and it's great. And now you yourself are like landing in reality, like fucking second kid. I can't do this like this, but like, it's time to respect that is a new phase, but not to throw out what's mature and developed in Onora. And even the why underneath that, like why, it's like, oh yeah, because I went through it and it took all this for me to get through it. And all of this isn't something that you just throw away because somebody else is going to go down. Like, you're not a kid anymore, but still the playground you loved is helpful for someone who's that age. It's enjoyable to help people through it. And you are going to use Onora as your process of personal growth. And that involves not forgetting where you came from, which is this GBL journey, and learning how to integrate things is that's like Onora's inner innovation lab at this point. That's not the innovation for the other people. That's the innovation for yourself. That is the unfortunate 10% of the iceberg that you see, when the 90% of the iceberg is what you already went through and built. And that's what the people need right now, is some structure and support, facilitation, all that stuff for the 90% that's hiding below your surface, but it's not hiding below other people's surface. Like, they only have the 10% on top of, like, how do I do the GBL thing right now? That's my reflection on this. This has been really, really helpful to see